How's everyone doing? Today I have a Blu-ray collection update with 6 Blu-rays, so let's check them out. And as always, if you've seen any of these movies, definitely let me know what you think of them. First up from Warner Brothers Home Entertainment is Project X. This will be released June 19th, and this is the Blu-ray DVD Ultraviolet Digital Copy Combo Pack, and it includes the extended cut. There's a little gnome right there. And some of the special features on here are Project Expensive Tallying Up the Damages and Project X Declassified. And again, this is the theatrical version and the extended version on here. And I recently did a full movie review for Project X, so if you want to check that out, just click right here. You know you wanna do it. All the cool kids are doing it. Basically, this is a movie that's going to appeal to the younger generation. If you're, middle school or high school age, then you'll probably enjoy this movie. It's all about having fun and having a good party. Basically, this movie is just like a music video to me. There's a lot of good party scenes and music going on, but besides that, there's not much substance here. The characters don't have any really depth or development, so you don't really care about them. It's just all about, getting crazy and having a crazy party. It's basically like Superbad meets Hangover, but for, young high school students. And you can see the back right there. A nice slip cover. And I'll go ahead and show you the disc artwork right there. There's the digital copy code right there. And there's the discs, Blu-ray, and then the DVD. And it's produced by the director of The Hangover, Todd Phillips. And again, this is basically just a party movie. 3 young kids in high school, they're basically losers. They want to throw this party for one of their friends' birthday, and it just goes all out, tries to invite all the popular kids, and they think, oh, I'll protect the house, it'll be alright, but no, things get crazy, things spiral out of control, and it's just nuts. It's an all-out party film that will definitely appeal to the younger generation more. And next up from Sony Home Entertainment is Ghost Rider Spirit of Vengeance. Now I'll just say I didn't care for the first Ghost Rider movie, but this one I thought was a lot better than the reviews. I've heard all negative reviews for this movie, but I thought this one was kind of fun actually. You have Nicolas Cage being typical Nicolas Cage in this one. It almost kind of feels like his bad lieutenant role in some of the scenes, or even like some fear and loathing aspects to some of this movie right here. But I thought it was a lot better than some of the reviews are saying. It's not a great movie by any means, and the plot is kind of paper thin. It's just all about the action, and I do think the effects were a lot better in here. And I think the trailer for this did a great job promoting this movie. The trailer really got me hyped up to see this movie. And this is the 3D version here as well. It has a nice lenticular cover right there. Nice slip cover. And then here you go. Here's the actual case, the clear case. And there's the back right there. And I'll go ahead and show you the inside as well. And here's a rewards code right there. And then here's the ultraviolet digital copy combo slip right there. And then here are the discs right there. There's the regular Blu-ray and then the 3D Blu-ray. I like for the Blu-ray disc right here that the eye is actually the disc hub right there. That's pretty neat. I like the disc artwork. And basically Johnny Blaze has to save this little kid from the devil on this certain night. Syrian Hands plays the devil, and basically his body's getting old that he's using the human form of, and he's going to transfer his soul into the body of this young kid. And Johnny Blaze makes a deal that if he saves this little kid, that he'll save his own soul essentially as well. And there's a twist there as well. But I thought this movie was a lot better than critics made it out to be. It's not a great movie by any means. The plot is kind of paper thin. It's all about the action, and there's some really humorous moments in here as well. Like you have the villain Decay, who basically everything he touches, it dies. And he's trying to find some food to eat. He touches the apple, it dies. Touches all the stuff, it dies. And then finally he has this Twinkie, and he's like, the Twinkie doesn't die, so he eats the Twinkie. I thought that was pretty humorous. And then there's the part as well where Ghost Rider is peeing, and he pees flame. I thought that was pretty entertaining as well. They don't actually show his little Ghost Rider bone, but they show it from the back side, back view, so you can see the flame, kind of like a flamethrower when he's peeing. I thought that was very funny. There's a lot of little quips here and there, and again, Nicolas Cage, typical Nicolas Cage overacting, which brought a little bit of humor to it as well. But the action sequences were really awesome, and I love the CG in this one. The CG looked so much better in this one than in the first one. And the effects with the 3D as well, with the chain coming at you, very nice. And for the special features on here, you have deleted scenes, director's expanded video commentary, The Path to Vengeance, a 6-part documentary. So if you're a fan of this movie, it definitely has a lot of extra special features that you'll probably enjoy. It's a popcorn flick, and it's cheesy, and you have Nicolas Cage, the overacting, and the plot is a little thin, but it has some very enjoyable moments in there, especially, where he's peeing, kind of like a flamethrower. They show his backside, he's peeing, and it shoots flames out. I just thought that was very funny. And there's a couple other very humorous scenes in here as well. And like I said, it's just one of those ones you can put on, have a couple beers with friends, and just sit back and enjoy. And I did actually pick up this steelbook from Best Buy. It was the pre-order one, which is a really cool steelbook as well. Love that steelbook. And it even has some inside artwork, which I appreciate. Love that interior artwork. It's a decently fun popcorn movie. It's not a great movie by any means, but again, you have great action sequences and some entertaining parts as well. And I definitely prefer Spirit of Vengeance way over the first Ghost Rider movie. And next up from Redemption Films, which is part of Kino Lorber, is The Hills Have Eyes 2 from Wes Craven. This is the 1985 version. And this is written and directed by Wes Craven, and later he came out and said that he just basically did this movie because he needed the money. And honestly, I've heard a lot of people just rip this movie. It's halfway decent. It follows the same formula as the first Hills Have Eyes movie, but nowhere near as good as the first Hills Have Eyes movie. You know, it's just a straight up slash movie, but this one's set 8 years later, and basically there's a group of people that are trying this motocross out in the desert, and they're gonna have this big race out there, and a couple of the characters from the first one return in this one. You have Ruby, who is part of the Hills Have Eyes family. She's, decided to go off with Bobby, and Bobby's too freaked out. He's seeking therapy for all the incidents that happened 8 years ago, and he's coming up with this super fuel that's supposed to help people, just drive really fast essentially. And they're going to test it out there with all the motocross people, and he's too freaked out to go, so Ruby decides to go with the motocross guys and a couple of other girls. And so they go out there into the desert, and they take a wrong turn, go off the main road, and basically what happens from there. And one by one they start getting killed off. You see Michael Berryman is back in this one as well. He doesn't die off like you thought in the first one. Pluto. And then you have the character Reaper, who is Jupiter's brother. He's in this one as well as one of the big bad guys. Real tall and gruesome looking dude, and basically have to fight them all off. It's very typical. It's halfway decent. I really was liking it, and then towards the end of the movie it just kind of falls apart a little bit. It kind of leaves you kind of wanting a little bit more, and kind of leaves a little bit of unanswered questions as well with one particular character. It's a very similar concept to the first one, but without the suspense. It feels a little rushed and uninspired, but as far as old school slashers go, it's actually pretty decent up until the last 20 minutes, and then it kind of unravels completely. But I will say it's worth a one-time watch, especially for old school slasher fans. And you have the dog Beast in here. Beast was awesome in here as well. And there's the one part with Beast that I was like, come on, give me a little bit more than that. But I will say this is a decent release. It's remastered, and it definitely looks that way. You can tell, especially compared to the first Hills Have Eyes movie. This one looks way better on Blu-ray. And there you go. There's the back right there. And there's some interior artwork. There's the disc right there. And next up from Oscilloscope is Gunnin for that #1 spot. This is basically a documentary about 8 of the U.S. top high school players, basketball players, going to Rucker Park for kind of an elite game. It basically just follows them around. You have Michael Beasley, Kevin Love, Jared Bayless, Dante Green, Kyle Singler, Tyreek Evans, Brandon Jennings, Lance Stephenson. You also see some other famous basketball players. You see Jay Kidd. You see a couple other people as well in the stands and things like that. Basically just follows them around and getting ready for the game, and they show little excerpts of them from their hometowns as well, and what they're gonna do and what they plan to do and what they think will happen in the future. And then shows them when they go to New York City and they're on the bus together, and then getting ready for the game, and then during the game as well it shows the actual game. And some of the funnier parts for me were with Michael Beasley. He was very entertaining for this one. And again, this is a really nice release by Oscilloscope. They do a lot of these kind of like digipack designs. There it is right there. Slides out. There you go. It goes over some of the characters right there, the blue team and the white team. And there you go, some like basketball cards right there. And there's the disc. And it just slides right back in there. Very nice release by Oscilloscope. I love their digipack designs that they do. And this was actually directed by Beastie Boy Adam Yauch, who recently passed away. May he rest in peace. This also has a great soundtrack as well, with some different hip-hop. Very fitting for the tempo of this movie. Now, I will say there's not a lot of depth or insight to this movie, or the different people involved in it, the different athletes. Like I said, you do a brief little overview of, where they're from and, what they hope to accomplish and things like that, but there's no real depth. It's just basically them following them around with the camera and things like that, kind of goofing off, and then the game. But the one cool thing I will say is, you get to see some of these kids when they're younger, before they were stars in the NBA and things like that, so that's kind of neat. And again, the presentation's decent, the picture and audio quality are both very good. And if you're a basketball fan, I would say check this one out, especially to see these young stars before they're really big in the NBA. And again, really nice release. Really love the releases by Oscilloscope. And next up from Mill Creek Home Entertainment is White Squall, directed by Ridley Scott. This is kind of an underrated Ridley Scott movie. It's kind of a very fun on the seas adventure with some tragedy as well. and it has a lot of great young actors in here who later on became really well-known actors. You've got Jeff Bridges as the main captain on here, and as some of the younger actors, you have Scott Wolf, Jeremy Sisto, Ethan Embry, Ryan Phillippe, and Balthazar Getty as well. And basically this movie is just about a young group of kids who go onto this ship, kind of an international sailing school, and they travel around, and basically something happens. They get into this big storm, and there's this giant white squall that comes, and basically certain people end up passing away, and they have to go back to the country and face this kind of tribunal review to see if the captain, Jeff Bridges, should lose his license and things like that. And it kind of has that whole Dead Poet Society, oh captain, my captain vibe going on to it. They rally around the captain, and basically it teaches these young kids about life lessons, kind of a coming of age story as well. And I found it to be actually a very underrated movie. It is a little bit tragic with some parts, but overall I like the effect of being on the boat, where these kids go to different ports and things like that, and they have to deal with their different life lessons and different issues like that. They kind of rally around each other, become a unit. And it is a decent display, picture and audio quality wise, from Mill Creek Home Entertainment. It's nothing that's going to blow you away, but it does look pretty decent. And there's the back right there. And I'll go ahead and show you the inside. There's some interior artwork right there. And there's the disc artwork. I'm really liking these releases from Mill Creek Home Entertainment. Their Blu-ray releases have the interior artwork, which I definitely appreciate. And you can see right there behind the disc as well, there's a few more characters. It's basically a coming-of-age story on the high seas, and it has an excellent cast. If you enjoy movies set on boats or into the ocean and you see waves splash and things like that and people doing things around the boat, then I think you'll enjoy White Squall. And again, that cast is just excellent, and it's just so surprising to see all these young actors and to grow up to do bigger things, essentially, and become more well-known. And you have Jeff Bridges as the captain, and you see the waves crashing, which is really cool, and then you see all the different life lessons that happens on the boat and the interaction between the different characters, especially the young actors. I think that's what really drives this film, the interaction between the young characters, and all the different life lessons. Like you see Ryan Phillippe, he has the fear of heights, and the different characters. The one character has the rich father and all that kind of issues there, and the one character he's a tough guy, but he has problems with learning, and they help him out, and it's just really an enjoyable coming of age story on the seas. And definitely a movie I would say check out if you're into boating movies and on-the-sea movies or coming-of-age movies as well. And next up from Miramax and Lionsgate Home Entertainment is Kate and Leopold, starring Hugh Jackman, Meg Ryan, Breckin Meyer, and Liev Schreiber. This is basically a time-traveling romantic comedy movie, kind of Back to the Future romantic comedy movie, if you will. Basically, Liev Schreiber's character finds a portal that takes them back into time, and he basically sees his great-grandfather, and Meg Ryan is his ex-girlfriend that lives above him in this apartment complex, and Hugh Jackman kind of follows him through the time portal into present-day time, so it's really like a fish out of water, kind of sees the whole new environment of how New York City is. And in his time, Hugh Jackman's character was a duke, and he's losing his money, so he has to, get ready to wed. His uncle wants him to wed, and he's kind of, gives him his last opportunity, otherwise he's going to cut him off, essentially. And so he doesn't see anybody he really likes, and he's kind of, disheartened with the love interest there. And he meets Meg Ryan, kind of falls for her and how she is, and this modern woman, and how she's so empowered and things like that. And Meg Ryan, of course, has been dealing with Liev Schreiber, who seems kind of disorganized and things like that. And nobody buys into his whole, time travel theory until, finally they put it all together and really believe that Hugh Jackman's character is from the past. And, for the whole time, Breckin Meyer thinks he's just an actor, because Breckin Meyer's character is an actor as well, and he's like, oh, you're really getting into this whole character study. But this was actually kind of a decent romantic comedy movie. I liked it a lot more than I was expecting to. I'm not really too big into romantic comedy movies. There's very few that I enjoy. And this was actually pretty decent. And if you're into romantic comedy movies, I think you'll actually really enjoy this one. And this is the director's cut as well. Now, I will say with any kind of time travel movie, there's always kind of a loophole. And you're like, oh, this is the great-grandfather. How can he exist if he's coming back here? Meg Ryan was actually, ends up marrying each other. How is she back here? Blah, blah, blah. But, you have to kind of set that aside and just go with the flow and enjoy the whole romantic comedy aspect to it, because it definitely has some really entertaining moments, especially when Hugh Jackman is being all proper. And Viola Davis actually has an appearance in here as a police officer, and that's one of the funnier parts as well, when she's telling me you have to clean up after your dog, and he's like, you expect me to clean up this dog's feces, this poop? I just thought that was a really funny scene. There's some funny scenes as well where he's kind of calling out Meg Ryan's boss, which I thought that was pretty entertaining. And another one of the plot holes that really stands out the most, in my opinion, is when Liev Schreiber and Meg Ryan, they were exes and they dated before and they hooked up and all that kind of stuff. And, at the end of the movie, you find out that basically he was banging his great-grandmother, because it goes back and, you know, I don't want to give too much away, but that's the basic thing of it, you know. He was banging his great-grandmother. How crazy and creepy is that? You can't overlook that huge plot hole. When you do movies like this with time travel, you have to, you know, cover your bases, and that's just such a huge, glaring one. He was banging his great-grandmother. Banging her. But if you can overlook those plot holes, especially that glaring one, and anything with time travel like that, it's still a very enjoyable romantic comedy movie. And again, the cast was great. Everybody played the roles perfectly. And, you know, I'm not a big fan of romantic comedy movies at all, but this one was actually really enjoyable. One of the very few ones that I actually liked. And again, if you're into romantic comedy movies, I would definitely say check out Kate and Leopold. And really, it's a unique take on the romantic comedy genre, with the whole time travel and everything like that. And this is the director's cut, and the picture and audio quality are both very decent, and has some special features, feature commentary with co-writer and director James Mangold, on the set, deleted scenes, commentary, things like that. So there you go, there are about 6 Blu-rays right there. If you've seen any of them, definitely let me know what you think of them. Leave me a comment or video response down below. Hope everyone's doing well. Take care.